Before we begin, subscribe to Smartobrains for in-depth documentaries. Like, share, tap the bell to never miss a video. Chapter 1. The present conflict. The relationship between the United States and Iran, a complex tapestry woven over 7 decades, has swung from close cooperation to open confrontation. While no formal declaration of war has ever been issued, the two nations now find themselves locked in a state of active hostility. As of March 2026, the conflict is overt and ongoing. This follows a series of major joint US-Israeli strikes in late February 2026, which targeted key Iranian nuclear and military facilities. These actions represent the culmination of years of escalating tensions, proxy conflicts, and diplomatic breakdowns. To understand how we arrived at this perilous moment, we must rewind the clock, tracing the pivotal events that transformed a strategic partner into a principal adversary. This is the story of that transformation, from allies to airstrikes. Chapter 2. An alliance forged in war. Our story begins not with conflict, but with collaboration during the Second World War. From 1941 to 1953, the United States and Iran cultivated a strategic alliance born of necessity. With the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the Allies required a secure supply line to their Soviet partners. Iran, with its strategic location, became that vital link. The Persian Corridor was established, a massive logistical undertaking through which the United States and its allies funneled millions of tons of supplies, from trucks and tanks to food and fuel, to bolster the Soviet war effort against Nazi Germany. This cooperation laid the groundwork for a deeper, more formal partnership in the post-war era. Chapter 3. The coup and the Shah. The post-war relationship was soon tested. In 1951, Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh championed a policy that would alter the course of the nation's history: the nationalization of its vast oil industry, which had long been under the control of the British-owned Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. This move was seen as a direct threat to Western economic interests, and, in the context of the Cold War, a potential opening for Soviet influence. In response, a covert operation was launched. In 1953, a CIA and MI6-backed coup, codenamed Operation Ajax, successfully removed Mossadegh from power. The coup restored the monarch, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, to the throne with sweeping autocratic power. For the next quarter-century, the Shah became one of America's most important allies in the Middle East, a bulwark against communism. This partnership deepened significantly in 1957. Under President Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace program, Washington provided Iran with its very first nuclear reactor and a supply of highly enriched uranium for research. This act of cooperation, intended to promote peaceful nuclear technology, would cast a long shadow, foreshadowing the intense nuclear dispute that defines the conflict today. While the alliance prospered on the surface, beneath it, popular resentment against the Shah's authoritarian rule and his close ties to the West began to simmer. Chapter 4. Revolution and Rupture. By the late 1970s, that simmering resentment boiled over. The period from 1979 to 1981 marked a seismic shift. The 1979 Islamic Revolution, led by the exiled Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, swept across the nation, toppling the Shah and fundamentally reordering Iranian society. The United States, once Iran's closest partner, was now cast as the Great Satan, an imperialist power that had propped up a hated dictator. This animosity reached its zenith on November 4, 1979, when radical students stormed the US Embassy in Tehran, taking dozens of Americans captive. The ensuing hostage crisis, in which 52 Americans were held for 444 agonizing days, shattered the relationship. Diplomatic ties were formally severed, and an era of profound mistrust and open hostility began. Chapter 5. A decade of proxy and direct conflict. The 1980s saw the new Islamic Republic embroiled in a brutal 8-year war with its neighbor Iraq after Saddam Hussein's invasion in 1980. The United States, viewing revolutionary Iran as the greater threat, found itself in a complex geopolitical dance. Officially, Washington aided Baghdad with intelligence and financial support. Yet, in a shocking revelation that became known as the Iran-Contra affair, the Reagan administration was also secretly shipping arms to Tehran, hoping to secure the release of American hostages held in Lebanon. This contradictory policy highlighted the chaotic nature of the decade. As the Iran-Iraq war raged, the conflict spilled into the Persian Gulf. The tanker war saw both sides attacking oil tankers to cripple each other's economies. This brought the US Navy into direct clashes with Iranian forces as it sought to protect international shipping lanes. The decade of conflict was punctuated by a profound tragedy. On July 3, 1988, in the tense and chaotic environment of the Gulf, the US Navy cruiser USS Vincennes mistakenly identified Iran Air Flight 655, a civilian airliner, as an attacking fighter jet. It fired 2 surface-to-air missiles, downing the plane and killing all 290 people on board. While the US called it a terrible accident, for many Iranians, it was an unforgivable act of aggression, further cementing decades of animosity. Chapter 6. The Nuclear Standoff. As the new millennium began, the central point of contention shifted decisively to Iran's nuclear ambitions. The period from 2002 to 2015 became defined by this escalating standoff. In 2002, the existence of clandestine nuclear facilities at Natanz and Arak was revealed, sparking international alarm. Shortly after, in his State of the Union address, President George W. Bush labeled Iran as part of an axis of evil, alongside Iraq and North Korea, accusing it of pursuing weapons of mass destruction. This rhetoric set the stage for years of punishing international sanctions aimed at crippling Iran's economy and forcing it to abandon its nuclear program. After years of tense negotiations, a diplomatic breakthrough was achieved. In 2015, Iran and a group of world powers, including the United States, signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. Under the landmark agreement, Iran agreed to severely limit its nuclear program and accept rigorous international inspections. In return, the crippling economic sanctions that had been imposed upon it were lifted. For a brief moment, it appeared a new chapter of cautious engagement had begun, offering a potential off-ramp from the cycle of confrontation. Chapter 7. A fragile thaw shattered. The diplomatic thaw proved to be short-lived. In 2018, the United States unilaterally withdrew from the JCPOA, arguing the deal was flawed and did not address Iran's ballistic missile program or its support for regional proxies. A campaign of maximum pressure was initiated, reimposing and expanding sanctions to an unprecedented level. Tensions escalated dramatically. In January 2020, a US drone strike in Baghdad killed Qasem Soleimani, the powerful and revered commander of Iran's Quds force. The strike eliminated a figure Washington considered a chief architect of regional terror, but in Tehran it was seen as an act of war. Iran's response was swift. It launched a barrage of ballistic missiles at US bases in Iraq, causing significant damage and injuring over 100 American service members. The two nations had stepped to the very brink of direct all-out war. A fragile calm eventually took hold, but the underlying dynamics had shifted towards inevitable confrontation. The stage was set for the final and most dangerous phase of the conflict. Chapter 8: Open War. The period from 2024 to the present day marks the transition from a shadow war to open combat. The trigger came in April 2024, when an Israeli airstrike destroyed Iran's consulate building in Damascus, Syria, killing several high-ranking Iranian military officials. Crossing a red line, Tehran retaliated directly for the first time. It launched an unprecedented wave of over 300 drones and missiles directly at Israel. The attack was largely thwarted by a coordinated defense involving Israeli, US, British and other allied forces, but it shattered the long-held taboo of direct state-on-state attacks. With intelligence suggesting Iran was nearing nuclear weapons capability, the United States and Israel launched a series of large-scale preemptive strikes on February 28, 2026. The operation, known by various code names including Epic Fury, Lion's Roar and Midnight Hammer, hit Iran's most sensitive nuclear sites, including the deeply buried FOR-DOAG facility, the enrichment plant at Natanz, and the Nuclear Research Center in Isfahan. As of late March 2026, the fighting continues. Iran has responded with missile waves targeting US bases across the Gulf and striking regional cities. The conflict has thrown the region into turmoil, with unconfirmed but persistent reports claiming the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in the initial strikes, creating a potential power vacuum at a moment of supreme crisis. Back-channel diplomacy attempts persist, but they are overshadowed by talk of possible US ground operations to secure damaged nuclear sites. The bottom line is stark. Decades of intervention, revolution, and profound mistrust have now erupted into a direct conflict that risks spiraling into a much wider regional war. The challenge for all sides is to find a path to de-escalate before the entire Middle East is consumed by the flames. If you found this valuable, subscribe to Smarter Brains. Leave a comment, share this film, and join us for the next chapter.